I want to start off, Gabby Hughes raising a banner for the hockey humanitarian. How significant is that, and how cool is it to see the university and Amsoil and everyone here recognizing, what's basically an off-ice sport, a pretty huge off-ice sport, but recognizing off-ice sport.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're excited to have this going on this weekend. We're also doing alumni weekend for the Ohio State series. So I think we have a good crew of about 15 alums coming back, which we're excited about. And so they'll get to see Gabby's banner as well. And I think, to be the first ever hockey humanitarian award winner at UMD is remarkable. And one could argue Hobie Bakers, Patty Kaz, hockey humanitarians, which is more important, but they're all significant. So we're really excited to see that banner come down.
You think the hockey humanitarian, it definitely deserves its place up there with, I know Kelly can rant on why there's no Patty Kaz here for an hour, but
that's a different conversation.
Now, and Hobie's and everything, that award is right up there in the sport, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think what's cool about the humanitarian, so many things, but it spans all of hockey, D1, D2, D3, men's, women's. That's a lot of people that you're competing with. So a really special honor, and it'll be great to have her and her family back in the building.
When you go back and you guys had this month-long practice where you're just competing against each other, you finally get the chance last weekend to play Long Island. You finally get a chance to study some tape of your players taking on another team. When you went back and looked at that tape, what stood out to you about that first weekend?
Yeah, I think, I thought our passing was really, really good to start with. Coming up ice with speed, numbers, good exchanges, heads up plays. So we really pushed the pace right away on Friday night. I thought our offensive zone play was really creative and dynamic. You saw our D take an unprecedented amount of shots last weekend, and we want them to be super active all season long. So that was really exciting. I thought the effort and consistency, especially on Friday night, was at an all-time high. So now that bar's been set, and those expectations will be there every game moving forward. So I thought that was good. And I think, defensively, I want to get better. That's an area that we need to, focus on a little bit more. I thought we did a pretty good job of grabbing pucks and getting out of there. We didn't have a lot of pressure in our D zone, but, that'll change as we move into the thick of the WCHA schedule. So want to make sure we're comfortable in there. I think one of our sort of mantras is always, enjoying the D zone. I think some teams and other programs maybe don't think of it that way. I want us to be really comfortable in there, confident, knowing that we're very frustrating to play against, because I think that really boosts our confidence and takes it away from opponents.
Anything surprise you, or you learned something new from that tape, or did you kind of see what you had seen throughout September?
No, I think we played really well, for our first game, to get out there and see scoring from, Manning getting 4, Claire getting 3, Liv getting hers, Reese, a lot of people getting involved on the scoring front, I think was really good for our confidence across the board. So I wouldn't say I was, expecting that. So that was great to see.
The Buckeyes, what stands out to you about that team this year? 10 new players, but 6 transfers.
Yeah, I'd say depth, right? That's what they were going for, I think, with grabbing all those kids, is having 4 lines that can roll and a good crew of D, and they play both goaltenders on the back end. So they have good depth that they're going to want to use against teams. And I think their philosophy is always the same: try to get 40 plus shots on net. So shooting from everywhere is something we're used to against their team, and they're going to want to wear you down with their depth.
I think your young players, especially those youngsters you have in the back end last weekend, getting a lot of ice time against a lot of opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. Was really excited for all of our D. I think they did such a nice job just working the blue line, being creative, being deceptive, using their feet to create shot lanes. You know, the Edas of the world really, I think got our feet wet out there, and that was great to see. Got a ton of shots through. Even players like Tova Henderson on the team last year, certainly playing a lot more minutes this year. It's great to see them get that experience last weekend and hopefully build their confidence moving forward.
The weekend for Reese Hunt up front too. It certainly seems to be acclimating herself very well.
Yeah, Reese she's a great fit for the Bulldogs. She has the mentality that our players have. You can ask the older kids, you can ask Clara Mannon. I think she fits in really, really well. She takes her craft very seriously. She brings a lot of energy and fun to what she's doing, and she's super hardworking, and understands what it takes to be successful in this league.
Piggybacking off of what Bruce said, the youngsters, kind of a big test for them this week, taking on Ohio State. You know, what are your kind of expectations and what do you expect from them in this big time matchup?
Yeah, I think, you know, sometimes ignorance is bliss, you know, so I don't think we need to talk about it more than we talk about any other opponent. This is WCHA play. Obviously, conference points are really important. It's a little more physical when we're in league. Just being locked into systems is important. You know, you got a back check, you got a forecheck, you have to have good changes. The details become more important, but I think they're going to be ready to go, and they're going to make mistakes just like players who have been here for 4 or 5 years are going to make mistakes. And we always talk about what's next. Okay, you make a mistake, what do you do next to make up for it? And that's what me as a coach, that's what I'm looking for out of everybody, no matter what year you are.
You talk about details besides the detail of taking your offensive production in this weekend series into this weekend. What other details do you want to bring ahead into this week?
Yeah, I think just getting better. We talk about getting better every single day. So we've focused on some areas that we think will be important this weekend. But I want to get better at what we're good at too. You know, I don't want to just say, oh, O-zone was good last week, let's focus on another zone. We want to continue to enhance our offensive play because scoring goals wins games. So we want to continue to focus on that. We want to focus on our D-zone responsibilities and you know, how that should look back there so we can get comfortable, like I was talking to Matt about. And then just details in the game, the ebbs and flows, continuing to maintain our composure like we did last week, not too high, not too low. You know, managing face-offs, managing timeouts. There are a lot of things that, you know, as you play more games, you just get better and better at.
Was there anything that pleasantly surprised you this past weekend series? I know you know how the group that you really have, but anything that came out of that you got? Oh, hello.
Yeah, I think, you know, the offensive output was really exciting. You know, we played Long Island last year with a team that everybody was talking about certain players for 4 or 5 years, and they were having a hard time finding the back of the net against the same goalie. And we did better this year, which was great. And I think consistency is really important to us as a program. And just like I said, not too high, not too low, depending on what's going on in the game, because there's always going to be adversity. And we dealt with very limited adversity last week, I would say. But when you do, you just want to stay even keeled. And so I was really, really impressed with the way our leaders set the tone in the locker room and got our players ready to go.
You have a plan in goal?
Do I have a plan and goal? You'll find out.
Can't even do like a, yes, I have a plan and goal, but no, I'm not telling you. You won't even share it with you have a plan and goal.
Nope, you'll find out. We're still practicing.
You could just keep opening.
We're still practicing. It's all evaluated based on how you practice. That's always, and play, obviously, but it's really important to me as a coach that what we do on a daily basis matters. And I think as players, they need to know that, because if they just take off a couple days and don't practice well, but still get the games, then what's the incentive to work hard the next week?
But you're practicing coaching too, because it could keep going the same way.
Could be. We'll find out.
You have no, we'll find out.
You'll find out. I am. Yeah, it's gonna be a season-long thing.
You do actually have a plan, which is to wait to finalize the plan that you have to.
We always tell the goalies and the team who's playing on Thursday nights.
You know how good it feels to get live opponent in here last weekend after a long month.
Yeah, it felt great. I mean, we had a long preseason. It was good to see the work that we've put in finally pay off.
What did you think of the weekend? What you guys were able to do?
I think it was amazing. I think we had players stepping up in all areas. Obviously, we're a pretty new team, so girls were seeing different roles than they normally do, and I think everyone did a really good job at stepping up to the challenge.
Level of confidence that you have in your play right now. It looks like you feel pretty confident out there.
Yeah, I mean, once you've played 3 years in the league, it kind of comes a bit more naturally. So I would definitely say I'm confident going into this weekend and the season moving forward.
Ohio State's always a battle, it seems like. What are the keys you think to victory this weekend against a very good Buckeye team?
I think just outworking them. We're both very similar teams in that way, but I think the character we have and the work ethic we do have is gonna take us to the top.
This sounds good on paper, but it's pretty hard to do sometimes with a highly skilled team like Ohio State. You think they won't work hard?
No, but I just think we can work harder. I think we had a long preseason and we've always been a hardworking team. So I think we definitely have the opportunity to outwork them. It's a very controllable factor.
I think this is kind of, like, obviously it's a great test for you guys and for some of the younger gals and not you specifically, but you know, what are your kind of expectations of you and your teammates as you get this big matchup in just the second week of the season?
I mean, preparation is the same. We don't go into this weekend any differently than we do other weekends. We prepare the exact same way. We have the same number of practices. We have the same mindset. We just want to be at the top and want to be better than we were last week. So I think just being confident in our preparation is going to help us a lot.
Happy it is as our celebration and great event this weekend. How special is it to see another standard set here?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like our culture goes a lot further than just hockey, and what Gabby's been able to do is something really special, and we're really proud of her.
You see any difference in how you play depending on which team you most time?
Nope. I think our goalies are both, or all three of them are phenomenal, but playing in front of Evan Haley this past weekend was just the same. So we're confident whoever's in net.
You're in that in French.
Not quite. I mean, we did have Sodes, who was English second language as well. So our goalie commands are pretty basic, and we make sure as a D group to keep them consistent so that there's no confusion for the girls that aren't super familiar with the language and the calls. So.
Is there any difference in the way they can direct things on the ice? Sometimes you have goalies who yell and tell you tips and alert you to forechecks and so on.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't play all too much in the D zone last weekend, so there wasn't a lot of direction that way. So we'll see how this weekend goes. Who knows if we're playing a bit more time there, maybe the goalies will be a little more vocal with us.
How important is that for you as a defender? You're skating away with people coming towards you, you can't see. How important is that communication from the goaltender so you know what's behind you?
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, everyone on the ice communicating helps, and that's a big thing we put a lot of emphasis on in practices every week is just communicating with our teammates. So the goalies doing that helps out a lot.